Hi guys, I'm Rex King. Usually in this series I try to talk about movies that I'm going to be seeing in theaters. But I thought I'd try to do something a little out of the ordinary. You see, I'm going to go see Spider-Man No Way Home on Monday. I haven't actually seen it yet, and I really wanted to talk about the other Spider-Man movies in preparation for me going to see it, and for my inevitable review on it. So, without further ado, let's start talking about them. Now, in this video, I'm going to be talking about the Sam Raimi trilogy, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and the Tom Holland movies. Now, I'm going to be going in order from worst movie, in my opinion, to best. And I will be displaying the scores of each movie as I talk about them in the video. Now, let's start off with the worst of these movies. Oh, also, before I forget, I'm going to be including the Venom movies too, because though I don't know for a fact, because I've avoided every spoiler about this, the way the last Venom movie ended put him in the Marvel Universe, so I'm going to be talking about those as well. I forgot to include those. So, without further ado again, let's get this started with the worst of these movies, being Venom Let There Be Carnage. The newest movie on this list, it's also the worst. Oh my god. Now, when this film is Venom and Carnage fighting, it's great. Too bad there's not a lot of that. In addition, they don't really do a whole lot with Carnage. He's in the film, and he's not badly designed. It's just not that compelling. I mean, unless you go into the movie knowing who Carnage is, you're not going to be coming out knowing who Carnage is. Mind you, this film was clearly meant for fans who knew who Carnage was. But I do feel like, being a film, you should try to explain your version of the character better. And I didn't feel like they did that. I really was disappointed. I wanted to see more out of this movie. I mean, a Venom and Carnage movie should have been totally easy, and they screwed it all up. I give that film a 2. Next, Spider-Man 3. Well, I'll be honest with you guys, though this film is low on this list, I don't hate it. Let me explain. Though I do agree there is some stupid, over-the-top stuff in this film, and they fail miserably at grasping the character of Venom and the Black Suit Saga, they do also do some interesting things that I felt like could have worked. I feel like if you actually cut out the entire Black Suit Saga, you could have made a much more interesting film. Just make Harry Osborn and Sandman the main villains. It would have been far better than what we got. This film, I give a 5. Again, I see a lot of potential in it, and that's why I can't give it a lower score than a 5. Next one, Venom. Again, though this film was low on this list, I don't hate it either. Now, the main issue that most people have with this film seems to be that it's not rated R, and the Venom movie should be rated R. And I couldn't disagree more. That's not the problem. I mean, don't get me wrong, a rated R Venom movie sounds awesome, but a film doesn't have to be bad just because it's rated at a lower rating. As long as the story and characters are compelling, rating should be secondary. And this film does nail the character of Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock and Venom are done perfectly in this film. He's that loser that you kind of want to root for, and he doesn't actually gain anything from being the hero he is in this film. I kind of like that. He doesn't necessarily go on a stereotypical hero's journey. That being said, the film does have its fair share of flaws. The villain is crap, and the setup is kind of iffy. That being said, I did find myself enjoying parts of this film, and if you haven't seen it, it's a movie worth checking out. I give it a 6. Next is The Amazing Spider-Man. So, the reason why this one's a little lower on the list than a couple others is I rewatched all the Spider-Man movies for this video. And The Amazing Spider-Man movie, I still am having trouble remember what exactly happened in it. And I just watched that one. Yep. Okay. I stress that this movie is not bad. Technically, it is a good film, which is why it's higher than the other 3 films on this list. It's just, I'm bored by it, actually. I'm not compelled or interested in these characters, and I think that's probably more of my personal taste. I also didn't feel like Andrew Garfield nailed the character. I mean, he does Spider-Man well, he just doesn't do Peter Parker well. And I feel like that's a shame. Because in the end, this should be a movie about both Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and both characters really should be done perfectly well. Unfortunately, he wasn't the right man for the job, in my opinion. But I do know some people who really like him, and if you like him, more power to you. I just didn't feel like he was the right character, right type of actor for this type of character. And the way they portray the character wasn't what I wanted to see. Now, I give this film a 6. I stress most of what I'm saying is probably personal taste, which is why I give this film a decent score. But I still have to put it low on this list because of that. The fact that it's my opinion, and though I know it's not the popular opinion, it does mean that I have to put it lower on the list. Next one. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, as you can tell, I didn't like the Amazing Spider-Man movies as much as I did the other ones. Not at all. But I did enjoy parts of this film. Mainly Jamie Foxx's Electro. And I've heard a lot of complaints about him as this character and the way they did that character. I can't disagree more with them. I felt like what they did really works. And Jamie Foxx portrays what they decided to go with really well. I really enjoyed seeing his portrayal here, and I actually liked making Electro more of a villain that we can sympathize with than really what he is in the comics, which is kind of your generic baddie. I know I'm in the minority here, but that's my opinion, again, my video, so I give this film a 7. Again, if you disagree with me, that's fine. Next one. Now, the next 2 are tied for me. I really wanted to make a decision before I did this video, but after rewatching both of them, I got the same level of enjoyment out of both of them. And that is the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie and Spider-Man Homecoming. And I already felt the millions of daggers that should be pointing at me right now. Let me explain, please. I don't think Spider-Man should be a high school student. Yeah, that's the driving force behind this. The way I read Spider-Man, the way I interpret the character, is he should be this pinnacle of power and responsibility. Now, both of these, he's not that yet. I feel like the Sam Raimi movie does that hero's journey a lot better than the Tom Holland one, though. But the Tom Holland one does a lot other things better, including making a better overall Peter Parker and making him more interesting to see, with a better setting and a better overall theme to the movie. Yet, I stress this, cannot stress this enough, because of the amount of times that Peter in Homecoming, again, seems to try to shove off his, real responsibility by trying to prove himself to other people, kind of irks me. And again, I know it's his hero's journey, but I really wanted one that kind of understood the responsibilities of being a superhero more. At the end of the day, that is what most Spider-Man stories are about. Responsibility. And how he interprets what that is. Also, the person who should be teaching him responsibility should not be Tony Stark. There's a million reasons why Tony Stark in the movies and in the comics is not a good pinnacle of responsibility. He shoves off his responsibilities at the slightest gesture. I'm sorry, it irked me so much to see him try to stand tall and go like, I'm trying to teach you something to Peter, when he, oh God, it didn't work. It didn't work for me. It's different with Uncle Ben because you know where the guy's coming from, and you can kind of feel like he's a pinnacle of responsibility, even in the short time we get to know the character before he inevitably dies. Yeah, I know that they didn't want to do an origin story, and I'm glad they didn't go that route. But by not doing an origin story, you have to have the character be better than he is and what his origin would be. In other words, he should already know that responsibility is the forefront of anything he does. Mind you, there are some logics to him being responsible with what he's trying to accomplish, but going about it the wrong way. And I know I'm making this stuff as vague as possible, but I do want those who haven't seen these movies to potentially go out and see them. So that's one of the reasons I feel like these are tied. The other reason is I really couldn't decide who I liked more as a villain. Yeah, I'm just going to say it. Michael Keaton nails Vulture. Absolutely nails Vulture. At least this version of Vulture. And though I feel like I'm in the minority here, Willem Dafoe nails the Green Goblin. He does not nail Norman Osborn. I'm not quite sure what they were doing with that character, but they nailed the Green Goblin. And I love it. Also, keep in mind I grew up with the Sam Raimi trilogy, so I'm being a little nicer to those movies probably because of that. But still. In my opinion, both these films are great. They are great films. I have problems with the Homecoming film. I have problems with the first Sam Raimi movie, but I enjoy both of them. So I couldn't decide between these two, and I gotta give both of them a 7. And again, if you haven't checked out both of these films, please do. They're both amazing. Next one, Spider-Man Far From Home. I got no problems with it. Nope, it's literally lower on this list because it's not a standalone film. You have to watch other films to understand what's going on in it. Not just the other Spider-Man film. Kind of one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of the Marvel Universe as a whole, but I'll get into that in the later videos, hopefully. But I have no other problems than that, and that's like a minor nitpick. So, yeah, 7. Check it out if you haven't seen it. We're hitting the home stretch here, so you should already know what's next. And I'm, of course, talking about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, this film was awesome. The way it was animated, the way it portrayed its characters, the story, it just worked. Of course, it also has to do that it deals with two of my favorite spiders from the comics, Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen, which having both of them just elevates the movie, even though Spider-Gwen's not as relevant to this film as I had hoped. But still, I'm glad to see her in this film. I love this film. It's so good. I felt like this is everything I wanted out of a Spider-Man movie. The hero's journey, the duality of the character, trying to struggle to understand what power and responsibility means to them as a character. Because again, Miles Morales is a different character from Peter, so he's going to have a different definition of what that is. I'm kind of glad to see him discover that. Though it is another origin story, and I know people are getting tired of that, this is done in such a unique way that I have to recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it. It's a great film. Truly a great film. Now, of course, I'm on the best one, and if you're going through the list, you know what that is, and it really shouldn't be a surprise. I'm, of course, talking about Spider-Man 2. That film is everything I want in a Spider-Man movie. I really, 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 really hope that the new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man No Way Home, is similar to that regard. Now, you notice that I've been talking a lot about the character of Peter Parker and Spider-Man, is that there are two different characters. Because I like movies that delve into the duality of superheroes. How they have to basically balance their normal life with their superhero life. And how they do that. Now, what I like about this movie is that it shows Peter struggling with the decision to be Spider-Man, but not really wanting to give it up, because if he gives it up, he knows people are going to get hurt. And he wants to protect people, even the people closest to him. But the people closest to him are being hurt personally by his decision, even though they don't know what that decision was. And I really like seeing the character struggle with this. Now, this is mirrored by the duality or multality. How do I say this with a character who has multiple arms talking to him? Dr. Octopus, played by Alfred Molina. Holy crap. Alfred Molina basically put his stamp on that character, and now no one else can do that character ever. And I do mean ever, because there's just no way to top it. He is the perfect character. Sorry, the perfect actor for this character. I mean, oh God, I love it. I'm so glad they brought him back for Spider-Man Far From Home. And in the end of the day, this is what I'm really looking forward to in Spider-Man Far From Home, is seeing characters that I grew up with be in this movie. In addition, they're going to be dealing with the duality of the character again, so I'm just like so excited. I'm hoping that this film's going to be similar to Spider-Man 2. Also, spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen it, the train scene! There hasn't been a better Spider-Man scene in all these years. The train scene is still the best one. Oh, God. I love it so much. I could probably do a standalone video on that movie and my love of it, but I try to stick to movies that are in theaters or trying to stick with relevant topics. I gotta give Spider-Man 2 an 8. It's just perfect. It just is. At the end of the day, I really look forward to Spider-Man Far From Home. Those are my thoughts on the Spider-Man movies. If you agree, disagree, like this video, hate this video, like if you like the video, but comment. I really want to know what you think about the movies. And I really am looking forward to seeing Spider-Man Far From Home. And I will have a video on that after I watch it on Monday. Guys, I'm Rex King, and I'm signing off. See you at the movies.